He is now nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role at the BAFTAs. I'm just looking at his co-nominees: Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins. Are you big league now?
Oh, I got an AC fixed in my living room finally.
Well done.
It was so hot. I didn't realize it was so hot in Bombay. I had like 3.5, 4 months to prepare for Balram's part. I decided I should go to a village and actually stay there. Finally, after 2 days, I found a guy who agreed to keep me without an ID card. He agreed to pay me $100 a day for cleaning the plates, for keeping the place clean and running small errands for him. And it was one of the most thrilling experiences of my life because I felt like a spy.
I, Balram Halwai, I drove the car. I was alone in the car. They made me sign that confession.
Why would you kick him? Why would you hit him like that?
You're my driver!
I'm just one who has woken up while the rest of you are still sleeping. It's a century of the brown man and the yellow man, and God save everybody else.
Now, this is obviously a face that's going to be really familiar to you if you've watched White Tiger. Adarsh has done a bunch of other really interesting roles in other projects as well. What a lot of people don't know about him is that he's only 26 years old, and he is now nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role at the BAFTAs. That is going to happen now on the 11th, from what I understand. He was also nominated for the Independent Spirit Award and for the AACTA International Awards as well, which is the Australian Academy. And it's so amazing because I'm just looking at his co-nominees: Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins. It's amazing. Adarsh has given us time to have a quick chat before we find out, before the actual BAFTAs are announced. Adarsh, thank you so much for joining me. Good evening.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here and I'm so thrilled to be speaking with you. I'm such a huge fan.
Well, then it's a mutual club because I'm a huge fan of the work that you've done as well, because I remember reading White Tiger and you have this idea of the character in your head when you're reading the book. And then many years later, someone makes a film, and I was really impressed with how real Balram was when you portrayed him. And not just the body language, the way he carries himself, the way he wears his uniform. There's a certain knack to it that you did so well. Was there some, how did you manage that? Because you're a 26-year-old, urban Mumbai guy, right? For most of your life, you lived in Mumbai, from what I understand. How did you pull that off?
Well, I was born in Jamshedpur. And I was brought up in Jamshedpur. For the first 13 years of my life, I was there. So, to be fair, I had a better understanding than most Mumbai people about what Lakshmangarh would be like, because Lakshmangarh is a fictitious village in Gaya, which is in Bihar. So, Jharkhand is erstwhile Bihar. So, the region has a lot of, the way they speak and all is very similar. So, I had that idea, but I go back to Jamshedpur once a year to visit my grandparents. But I think the most important part for me to understand who Balram was to go on that journey where I had like 3.5, 4 months to prepare for Balram's part, which is a big luxury for any actor to get. Like usually you get cast a month before a film, but for this film I got cast almost 4 to 5 months before it, so I had a lot of time. And I initially wanted to drive for somebody in Bombay. But that was proving to be very difficult because, who would just randomly keep me as a driver, right? Like I have no background record, I have no record as a driver. So then I thought to myself, what is the next best thing I could do? And then, I decided I should go to a village and actually stay there and really get to know in person what it is to be in a village, to be cut off from other 21st century luxuries, and to be to just speak with people there and to have a very undiluted experience, to hear their stories about what they think, what they feel about the world and all of that. So I did that for a couple of weeks. And then after that, I went to Delhi. And again, I told myself I should be doing something. I still have 2.5, 3 months. So I tried getting a job at a thela, basically. So for 2 days, I was wandering around the streets of Saket trying to get a job. And by this time, I had already tanned because I used to be out a lot in the sun in the village. I was constantly working on my diction. So I had started speaking like Balram. I was also dressing like Balram consciously. So, I mean, I was literally unrecognizable. If you would see me, you wouldn't recognize me on the streets. So after 2 days of trying, I finally found a person who agreed to keep me without looking at my ID card, because my ID card had my name as Adarsh and had me looking like this, but I wasn't looking like this then, and I was introducing myself as Balram. So then finally, after 2 days, I found a guy who agreed to keep me without an ID card, and he agreed to pay me $100 a day for cleaning the plates, for keeping the place clean, and running small errands for him. So I worked there for 2 weeks anonymously, and it was one of the most thrilling experiences of my life because I felt like a spy. Uh, and I felt like I had to constantly protect my identity and at the same time still experiencing everything that I was. Because the idea was to understand what Balram went through when he wanted to get out of the village because he was so ambitious and driven to do something bigger. So the idea was to feel like I'm stuck in something that I can't get out of. Which is why I chose to work there. And then I did that for a couple of weeks, and then we started workshopping for the film.
So, for me, the book and subsequently the film is largely about that, the divide that we have in India between the employers and those who are employed. Right? And it's actually the split between two groups of people. And when you were moonlighting as a spy on the streets of Delhi, did that come as a shock that you were suddenly on the other side? And were there instances that struck you? Because when someone says something, the reflex action is to turn around and be yourself and say, hey, that's not cool. But were there instances that took place that you were just completely shocked with that happened in our country?
Lots of instances. Lots. Yeah. Those 2 weeks actually felt like 2 years for me because I was working for 10 hours a day and I was doing something that was completely alien to me, right? I mean, of course, I wash utensils at home and I clean my house when my didi doesn't come, but it's an altogether different thing when you're doing it on the road next to a open sewer with like bandicoots running around you. So the first thing that struck me was, I remember on the second or the third day, I was washing the plates and my employer suddenly went like, hey, don't use so much soap. Why are you using so much soap? Are you stupid? You have to make like आपको वो 2 दिन चलाना है वो टिकिया आपको तो मैं अभी बोल रहा हूँ वो मतलब ऐसे नहीं बात करता ना मुझसे बहुत बदतमीजी से बात करता था पर yeah, he was very particular that tikiya of sabun should run for 2 days. I said, okay, cool. And little things like that, right? And so like one day I remember there's a customer who had come and my guy used to store his paneer under really like bad condition. I mean, I don't even know how to get there, but he served that paneer and that paneer turned out to be khatta. So the customer was like, I'm not going to pay for this. And then they had a fight or whatever. The customer bounced, and then my employer was like, hey, Balram, why don't you come here? I said, yeah. And he said, just get a 1 kg bag of sugar for me. I said, cool. I got it. And he emptied the whole bag of sugar in that paneer ka patila, swerved it like 2-3 times, millowed it, and then served it to the next customer. Nobody complained. This other time I was going back to my hotel, and this was after I lost my job. After 2 weeks of working there, I ran away because I had to start workshopping and stuff. So, after that, I would pretty much just roam around the streets of Delhi wearing the clothes, go on the metro, go anywhere it took me. Didn't even bother. Like, I'd just take the ticket to the last station and just get off wherever I wanted to. So one day I was coming back late in the evening at around 6:37. I was walking towards my hotel, and this guy who was driving a 407 lorry, he was ferrying construction rods. He saw me just randomly crossing him, and he called out to me. So I turned around, and for a second I didn't know if he was calling me or somebody else. So I said, me. He said, yeah, you come here. I said, हाँ sir, क्या हुआ? He said, ये उठाने में मदद कर दोगे, 20 रुपया दे देंगे. So in that moment, I actually felt like it was a big validation for me because I didn't even open my mouth. I didn't even say anything. I was just literally passing and looking at me. He felt like I was somebody who could be approached to do something like that. And I was somebody who would accept 20 rupees. And I said, yeah, why not? And while lifting it, I cut my hand because the construction rods were very sharp. So he got very pissed and scared. He was like, "Oh, haven't you done this before? पहली बार कर रहे हो क्या?" I said, "नहीं, वो गलती से हो गया." And then he tied a rumal around my hand, and then he gave me 20 rupees to do that. So lots of instances like this that where I felt like I was on the other side completely.
You did say, of course, getting 4 months to prepare is a luxury for any actor. But a lot of times, people who are watching a film on the other side don't realize how much time goes into making a film, right? So how long was it from the day you heard that you were going to be Balram to the day that the film finally released for everyone to see?
1.5 years.
1.5 years.
Yeah.
And you lived in that bubble of being Balram for 1.5 years.
Not really, because I got cast for it at the end of June, and then we started shooting end of June 2019. We started shooting in mid-October 2019. We finished shooting in December 2019. From January 2020 to October 2020, we were working on the voiceover bit.
Yes.
The whole narration and the voiceover bit was recorded after the filming. So, I mean, in a way, yes, I had to, like, on days that I had to go and record the voiceover, I had to like fall back into the mindset of Balram. But I think for those 6 months during the shoot and before 3 months leading up to the shoot was the time when I was completely there. I was living like Balram. I was talking like. In fact, there were a lot of people on set who met me later on in Bombay, and they had no idea that this is who I am. Because even when I would speak in English, then it would still be closer to what Balram speaks like, even off camera. Because it just affected me, because I was constantly talking like that. Like I was just giving this example.
Did it take time to come out of that?
It did take some time. Because I dropped my spine, I slouch, and yeah, there were some habits. In fact, I was just telling somebody else the other day that Balram has this thing where he runs and like opens the door for Ashok every time Ashok has to sit. I do that right now. I don't run and go up. There's no sense of there's not that much urgency. But I open the back door and people often they're like, "Oh, this guy's so chivalrous." But like inside of me, I'm like, "Shit, this is Balram." And it's not like I'm not chivalrous, but these small little things that I do, these just traces, residual things that are just, I think that every character that you play, you get something, like you take something out of that, and then you also lose something from yourself. Yeah.
You'll be unfortunately for you, not physically but virtually at the BAFTAs this weekend.
Yeah.
Excited? Little disappointed that you can't be there in person?
I am. I'm actually kind of like over it now, because for the first 7 to 8 months last year itself, in 2020, I figured that this is not something that's going to get over in in 6 months or 7 months. Like I kind of figured that it's going to be here for a bit. So I was prepared for it. So obviously initially I was a little bummed out. I wanted to, of course, I've not even traveled much outside of India. So I was actually much excited to go to Venice and Berlin, because a lot of Ramin's films premiere at the Venice Film Festival. So I was planning my Euro trip towards the end of the filming. I was like, okay, I'm going to go on a Euro trip and I'm going to see all these countries and I'm going to meet lots of cool people. So yeah, it was a little hard, but I guess I'm still very privileged to be living the kind of life that I live, and I'm still very lucky to have had a release that's on Netflix that so many people had the chance to watch because they were inside their houses. So I guess I got the best of the deal. I don't think I should be greedy and ask for more.
Has your life changed though after the film came out? Are you big league now?
Oh, I got an AC fixed in my living room finally.
Well done.
It was so hot. I didn't realize it was so hot in Bombay. But other than that, I think it's just the number of scripts that I'm reading and the number of auditions that I'm giving have increased. There are certain kinds of people that I want to collaborate with as an artist, and I want to tell certain kinds of stories that are being told by some people, and like I'm really grateful that I've come in contact with such people, and hopefully I'll be making some good stuff with them.
So when you say there are certain types of stories you want to tell, and the best part about the new sort of OTT landscape that we have is the kind of stories that are being told, right? Then we're no longer boxed in by sort of mainstream Bollywood anymore. There's like a range of stories that are being told. What are the kind of stories? And I would assume, because this is what a lot of actors say, that you'd want to go in the opposite direction of Balram now and just try something completely different. But what would actually, drive you at this point?
Well, I don't have any fixed parameters as such, but my idea is just to play as many different kinds of people as possible, because that really gives me a high to embody like people and understand, put myself in like the shoes of people who come from different socio-economic backgrounds, different, be it anything that basically makes us different. So yeah, that's why when I said that I want to tell certain kinds of stories, it's just that. And I really work only for myself. I work on things that I personally get inspired by or that consume me. So yeah, I'm just like, I feel like I act for very selfish reasons and I just do it for that, So I hope that I'm able to do that throughout my life.
When I have conversations with other young people around your age, we always talk a little bit about mental health, and you've been on such a massive journey. Just the size of this film, the people you have worked with and collaborated with, your your director, the actors who worked with you is so massive. And now recognition like, you've had the BAFTA nomination, the Independent Spirit Award. How are you sort of dealing with all of this mentally? How are you filing it in? How are you sort of, processing all of it?
Well, honestly, Faye, all these awards and all are great, but every day I just tell myself that I'm here to tell stories and to act, and that's my job. Anything else that happens is a mere consequence of that. So I try not I try not to stay with that feeling or try not thinking about it too much. I quickly move on, and I'm just constantly in the hunt for, I like the chase. So I constantly feel like, what's the next thing that inspires me to like run behind it, to chase it, really, to take some kind of risk. And I mean, an award function is not really in my hands. I don't know what's going to happen, what's not. But what is in my hands is to constantly evolve as a person and to add some new skill set, whether it's by learning something new, whether it's by putting myself in a new situation, collecting new experiences, meeting new people. That's what I like to do. And I feel I just remind myself that, I'm very fortunate to be able to make money by telling stories and to act. Like, to think that you can do something like this is ridiculous, right?
Well, Adarsh, it's been a complete pleasure to have this conversation with you. I've been watching the BAFTAs live to see you in your suit in your living room, but I really hope you do take home that award. And I hope that this is the very beginning of an extremely, illustrious and successful career for you.
Thank you, Faye. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure. So, Adarsh Gaurav, nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role in the BAFTAs. We're so excited for him. We're going to be obviously cheering for him as well. Let's see, all of the other exciting projects that you work on, and wishing you very, very good luck.